What's up guys, my name is Andy. In this video, I'm excited because I just got the call from my engine builder and it's time to go pick up my 347 stroker that I've been waiting for. It's been about, just under 5 weeks since I dropped the motor off, dropped all the parts off, and I've been waiting for him to call every day, and he finally called, so it's time to go pick it up. Let's go grab that thing. All right guys, I got my new engine in the back of the truck. Right now my truck has 2 V8s in it, so that's kind of fun to say. But it's kind of dark out, so you really can't see anything. So let's head back to the house so we can check out the new build. So here it is. Here's my 347 stroker that I have been kind of hiding from you guys, except for, obviously the last couple of videos it's been obvious, but in fact you've probably been able to kind of pick up some hints as I was modifying things in the car and changing some things. I know a lot of you guys have asked questions about where I'm going with it. Why did I change that? Why would I do that if I was just going to keep a stock motor, that kind of stuff. And I was intentionally vague because I didn't want to give it away, partly because I'm pretty sure what I wanted to do with this build, but I wasn't certain until I got closer to it. Part of that is because this is kind of an expensive, in fact, this is now the most expensive thing I've done to this car outside of buying the car. And I think that transmission, that T5 transmission swap I did was the most expensive part up until then. So, and we'll go over some of the dollars here in a minute. But so this is something I've been waiting for, I've been saving up for, been preparing for and planning for. Just like a lot of you guys, I'm sure you kind of do the same thing. As I get closer to it, I started buying some parts that, well, I want a new one of these and I want to get that one thing for that part because I know that I've seen it and it was good over here or something like that. And I kind of got caught up in the same thing. And one good example is this oil pan. This Moroso oil pan is overkill for my application. Now, some of the plans that I have with the car down the road, it will help, it will come into play, but when I get going, this will be a little overkill at first, but again, for the plans for the car, I'm hoping this will come into play. This is a 7-quart oil pan. It's got some baffles in the bottom down there. Just add a little more cooling capacity for the motor with having more oil in there. That will help distribute the heat a little bit, a little fresher oil to feed the motor. The stock is 5 quarts, so I've got 2 extra quarts of capacity, I guess, if it will. And then with the baffling in there, any hard cornering and that kind of stuff, I'm not going to starve the motor or starve the oil pump. And so anyways, so this is one of those things that, again, I got carried away with it, and I don't need this oil pan, but it's one of those things that you wanted to have, and it just starts to add onto the cost. So let's, I guess, go over what we've got here. You can probably tell already that I've got these are AFR 185cc heads. From the research I had done, 165cc heads were a real popular option. Allowing these 185cc just a little bit, more breathing capacity of this motor. This thing will redline at 6,800 RPMs or so. That's probably higher than I'm going to spend most of, I'm not going to spend a lot of time up there, but it's nice to have that capacity, when you want it. So these 185cc heads are going to breathe way better than those stock heads that I had on the car. And this is something that, whether you went with AFR or another brand of heads, just something that's better, more, freer flowing than the stock heads is really kind of what you want to do. Take advantage of this larger displacement. I want to get some air in there and get it out. So I wanted some better heads. So that's one of the things that I had done. This block is, what is it? The 86 to 96 or whatever, that 302 block that Ford made with the roller lifters in there. I was going to take my 289 block and have them modify it for the the hydraulic lifters instead of that flat tappet design. And then I was gonna have them do that modification in the back where you can make it so it'll accept the one-piece rear main seal. My engine builder said, look, I've got this 302 roller block. Why don't I'll just sell you the block and that'll save you, I mean, for what I spent was 250 bucks on the block. He said it's gonna be about $400 worth of work and machine and parts to take my 289 to convert it into essentially what this is. So in the end, I saved 150 bucks. I still have my 289. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet, but it's nice that I can fall back on that motor if I need it for something else, whether a different project, I wanna turn it into a different, turn that motor up and make it, whatever I wanna do. It's nice to have that still just in case. And again, I saved a couple bucks by buying this block from him. This is a 302 block that we did set up for the 347 stroker, so we bored that out. What else do we got in here? New timing cover and water pump. I could have taken those units. They were fairly new on my 289. I could have taken them off. Decided to just go ahead and get some new units here. And I did get the aluminum water pump, so it kind of matches a little better with this. Although it's not on here, we don't have the bolts. When you buy the ARP kit for the water pump and timing cover, the bolts aren't the right lengths. I don't know what's going on there. You have to go and order the separate bolts that you need because there's a handful of them don't fit. Thankfully I've got that old chart that I made when I did the water pump and timing cover, and I've got all of the bolt lengths and stuff in the various locations that it goes, so I can just use this to get the fasteners I need and then I'll be good there, but I still gotta do that. This is just a new harmonic balancer. My engine builder likes this style, so we had him go with that. I didn't want to use mine. Again, mine 55 years old. It was tired. It was time to get it out of there. There's one of those, is it ATI super damper? I was looking at one of those, but my engine builder said, stick with one of these. It's fine. It'll do what we needed to do. And so we went with that. Valve covers, I did take these off of my other motor. So those are the same. And then the manifold is the same. I almost bought a new manifold. I was looking at maybe getting the air gap. Some of you guys are familiar with that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet. It gives me something I can upgrade to down the road. But for now, I'm just gonna use the manifold that I had on my 289. The carb, it's not on here yet. I'll put that on when I get the motor installed. I did buy a new carb. So I had that 600 CFM Edelbrock unit that was on my 289. The numbers say that 600 CFM would work. The numbers say that it'll work. You do the math and figure out what, with the volumetric efficiency and all that kind of stuff. My engine builder said to go with a larger unit, and this is where some of you guys are gonna spin out. He told me to get a 750 cc unit, or CFM unit. From everything I'm seeing, that's on the high end of what you would get for these. A lot of people are doing the 650s, 670s, maybe even a 700. The 750 is probably too large, but I'm really trying to trust my engine builder. He has been building this same formula for over 10 years. He buys the same parts. He says this is what works. He says that with this setup, with the stuff that's on the inside and these heads, it's a 425 horsepower motor. Once you get it dialed in, we got to do some tuning every day, all day. Can you get more power to these? Sure. Can you get less power? Sure. I'm trying to trust my engine builder. You go online and everybody has an opinion about what parts you need to make the perfect 347. Some people are willing to spend an extra 600 bucks to get 2 more horsepower up at 6,100 RPMs. And that's just not my build. That's not what I'm looking for. Again, a lot of it I was just trusting in my engine builder that based on what my application is, the kind of driving I want to do with this car, what I am doing with the car, and give him all that stuff. He says, this is the build that you should have. You guys probably have an engine builder that's going to tell you a different set of parts. That's fine. It really doesn't matter. In the end, I'm going to be happy with this because this is going to be, gosh, what is that? Almost double than what my motor was making before. And some of you guys have seen like the video I did where I was doing the rear main seal on my 289. You can see that those bearings are done. They're toast. That motor was tired, and it was time to retire it and get it out of there. And so anything is really going to be an upgrade. I did go with a 750 CFM Holley vacuum secondaries. Again, another thing that my engine builder told me to do based on what we're doing here. Some of you guys are mechanical secondary guys. That's fine. I am going to stick with the stock fuel pump for now. That's not on here yet, but I need to put that on. I don't know if I'm going to need an upgraded unit, but I'll get to there. And it gives me something to kind of upgrade down the road. But that's what I got for there. So what do we have on the inside? So I've got all my stuff here. He got me, we even got the balance sheet, where we did all the balancing of the rotation assembly. Got my cam numbers. On the inside, what I've got are some Keith Black 10.5-to-1 pistons. Again, the 30 over so that they're set up for the 347. The camshaft, it's a Trick Flow Track Max. And some of you guys are going to know exactly what that is. Crankshaft is a scat forged unit. Funny thing about that, we were going to go with Eagle crankshaft and connecting rods, but the problem to get the parts that he was going to put in here, we were going to have to wait 3 more months to get this, to complete this, because that crankshaft was just back ordered for 3 more months. And so he switched it over to the scat setup. He said it's going to be fine. In fact, he says this scat, unfortunately, the scat crank that I've got in here now was $300 more than what he originally quoted me. So unfortunately I had to come up with that difference. It's not his fault, right? But he says this is the crank that I would put in a race motor. It's way overkill for what I need in my application, but he says there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great unit, but you just, for a street use, you don't need this fancy of a crank. So I would have paid it anyways, just because I didn't want to wait 3 more months. And some of you guys may be willing to wait that kind of time. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get this thing built and get it done. And then some scat connecting rods, like I was saying. He's got a couple of the parts on here, but they're not as important as those units there, those pieces there. So how much am I into this motor? Well, this was a surprise number to me. This is not what I had budgeted, and this is not what I had in mind when I started down this path. It ended up being more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Part of it, things like that crank, extra $300 for that starts to add up. Oil pan, I didn't need that. I didn't need some of these new components on here. I started buying some stuff that I didn't need. I bought a couple things for the engine bay that I wanted to upgrade and add. And so when you put all this together for this motor build, right now I still have a couple things I still need to buy that I haven't bought yet because I got to wait till I get this thing put together. But more or less it's going to be pretty close to this. So I'm $8,507.61 into this build. That's a surprise to me. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this video. That's a couple of $1,000s more than I thought this was going to be when I started this project, you know, quite a while ago, trying to put things together and get stuff in line. Again, part of it is getting caught up and buying some things that I didn't need. Part of it is buying parts that I had to pay extra to get the parts now. But just for comparison, for you guys to if you were to skip all this extra stuff that I bought, I wrote down, so the heads, I bought these heads. So I'm filming this in December. I bought these heads back in May of this year, and I didn't get them until August. It took that long from the time I ordered them till the time I got them. There was a massive back order on them, but they were on good sale at the time. That's one reason why I bought them way back in May. I saved probably $500 on these heads when I bought them, just because of the timing. So keep that in mind. But if you take the head and all the internal parts that you need to make this 347 work, plus all of the labor, I'm assuming a lot of you guys can't assemble this yourself. There's special equipment you need, particularly like for the balancing and stuff like that, for making the whole rotating assembly balanced. You're gonna need special equipment for that. Buy these heads, get these parts, and take a motor in and get it done. I'm in $6,955.05 just in that. Got another, we'll call it $1,500 in extra parts and pieces and things that I wanted to get. Now some of the stuff you're gonna have to spend, like I got new oil. You got to buy some new oil for this. I got new coolant, new oil filter, stuff like that you're going to have to buy, and with some gaskets and stuff like that. So you can't just take that essentially $7,000 number and today and go replace the 340, make a 347, because you're going to have to buy some extra stuff. And that's, assuming with prices today. I was able to get a good deal on these heads. You guys might be able to get a better deal on the heads or the parts, or maybe you know a guy that can do this stuff for you, and that'll save you some money. So don't get discouraged on that part, but I wanted to get that number out there. So some of you guys if you're thinking about this kind of stuff, where am I going to end up? What's it going to take to build something like this? Could you buy a crate motor that was essentially the same or very close to it for less? Probably. There are motors that a guy that builds a motor and changes his mind, and now he has this motor for sale on Facebook or Craigslist or something like that. And can you buy that and save some money? Absolutely. If you want to go down that route. So again, just something for you guys, kind of a heads up. What's it going to take to get this motor built? So now what do I have left to do? Again, I got a couple things I need to do. I need to finish this whole setup here, get the water pump put on. Got spark plugs that I ordered for this, because for this setup, a lot of people, and even AFR recommends these Autolite 3924s are recommended for this type of setup. That's what my engine builder said to do. That's what AFR says to do. I read a lot of comments online. You guys are saying that's a popular plug, so heads up on that. If you guys know what plugs to get, that's what I'm going with, is the Autolite 3924s. Again, I have a couple things I need to do to get this ready, and then it's time to throw it in the car and get it hooked up. So I'm getting anxious. I do have some time to put this together, but I'm just as anxious as you guys. I want to hear this thing breathing. I want to get it fired up. So at least you guys get to see what motor I'm building and what was the secret all about and what was the wait for. This is it. So guys, that's it. If you have any questions about the build, let me know in the comments. Happy to answer anything else. I might have missed something that you guys want to know about. Let me know and ask it below. So guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, I appreciate it, because it helps my channel out. And we'll see you in the next one.